Shree Maathrey namaha. Manasvi, can we chant much? Dekanto Matlavasya.
Dekanto Matuloyasya Janani Sarvamangala Janakaha Shankaro Mahadevaha Tvam Vande Gajananam.
Vimalapati.
Vimalapati Kamalakuti Pustaka Rudraksha Sasta Hastaputi Kamakshi Pakshmalakshi Kalita Vipanchi Vibhasi Vairanchi.
Saraswati Namastubhyam.
Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada.
Sarada Niradindu.
Sarada Niradendu Ghanasara Patira Marala Mallika Haratushara Fena Rajatachala Kasafanisa Kunda Mandara Sudapayodi Sita Tamara Samara Vahini Subhakarata Noppu Ninnu Madiganaga Nennadu Kalgu Bharati.
Jnananandamayam Devam.
Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmala Spatikakritam Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Hayagriva Upasmahe.
Gurave Sarvalokanam.
Gurave Sarvalokanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam Nidaye Sarva Vidyanam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha.
Shivashakti Ayukto.
Shivashaktya Yadi Bhavati Shakta Prabhavitum Nachedevam Devo Nakalu Kushala Spanditumapi Atastva Maradhyam Harihara Virinchadi Virapi Pranantum Stotum Va Katamakrita Punya Prabhavati.
Shri Rama Rama Rameti.
Shri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasra Nama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane.
Apadam Pahartaram.
Apadam Upahatkaram Dataram Sarva Sampadam Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham.
Shri Maathrey namaha. Today we will, I think in the last class, we discussed the 23rd Slokam of Soundarya Lahari. Now, today we will discuss the 24th one. The background of 24th Slokam just talks about the virtual background picture that you are seeing here is what we talk about Pancha Brahmas Anasthita. Pancha Brahmas, the four legs of the chair on top of which mother is sitting, are the four Brahmas, and the fifth one, Shiva, is sleeping on top as a plank, and on his left lap, mother is sitting. On the left thigh, mother is sitting. Okay? When the Shakti sits on the left lap, the Shakti is often the companion or the wife of the Shakta or the masculine energy. When the energy sits on the right lap, she becomes the daughter. In fact, in Mahabharatam, when Ganga Devi comes out and sits on the lap of her father-in-law right lap, he gets, as he's in meditation, he gets confused. He opens his eyes and then realizes the girl who has come has sit on his left lap. So she is a daughter or daughter equivalent, right? And daughter-in-law is also daughter equivalent. Therefore, he gets Ganga married to Santana Maharaja, and therefore, in all the pictures that we see, whether you talk about Lakshmi Narasimha Avataram, Haigreva Avataram, okay, or Raja Rajeshwari Lalita Parabhatarika, the Devi in the background of this picture, they always sit on the left lap of their husband. Okay, so the Pancha Brahmasanasthita, Brahma essentially means not the Lord Brahma who creates, who is responsible for generating the world, but Brahma essentially means that which has come from the Supreme Conscious. Okay, Parabrahma. It is a derivative part of the Parabrahma, and therefore it is called Brahma. Okay, and this Brahma, which is a derivative part of Parabrahma, is meant to do a specific function. Now, what are the 5 functions that are done at the macro level and the micro level? Macro being the universe, micro being our universe, which is our body. Now, the 3 things are very simple that we know: Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. These are the first 3. Then the 4th one is Tirodhanam, and the 5th one is Anugraham. Okay, these are the Panchakritya Parayana, another name in Lalita. We'll discuss more when we come to that Namam as part of our discussion of Lalita Sahasranamam. Now, Srishti, Sthiti, Laya are relatively easy to understand. When we talk about the Brahmas performing these functions, we are talking about at the universe level, not at a human level or not at a dog or a species level or a specific being level. We're not talking at the micro level. But let's connect it to our own lives on what happens. Srishti, we are born. Sthiti, we are continuing to survive. Laya, one day all of us have to go. Okay. Now, what is Tirodhanam and Anugraham? Tirodhanam is essentially going back to where we have come from. Okay. And then Anugraham is essentially coming back again. So, for example, if somebody does a lot of punyas, okay, he or she will get elevated to the higher forms above human. It could be Gandharvas. Gandharvas are a class of people that exist to sing in the Divya Deva Sabhas. Gandharva Ganam, we say. Okay? So Gandharvas, Kimpurushas, Kinneras, Devatas themselves. Therefore, we say all Devatas positions are chairs, depending on Hanuman, who is a Chiranjeevi, will become Bhavishyat Brahma, who will create the worlds, the universes. So, depending on the Punya Karikramas one accumulates, he or she will probably become Varuna, Yama, Indra, Agni Deva in future. Therefore, these are all seeds, right? Similarly, from Yugam to Yugam, the Sapta Rishis also will change. The Sapta Rishis essentially are again 7 chairs, and they will keep changing every Yugam to Yugam, depending on this cycle of ascent, where some of the devotees, some of the humans who are doing Punya Karikramas will tend to ascend. Now, they will stay there in that person because let's assume one of you is becoming Surya in future generations to come, right? As long as your punya continues, you will sit in that chair. The chair is constant, but the person who occupies the chair is not constant. Once the punya is done, then they'll come back again to, depending on how much punyas are left or papas are left, they will become a human or they will become an animal or a plant or a tree, depending on whatever their karma takes them to be. Now, only in a human form we have the special facility to get into moksha or salvation and liberation. Okay, this essentially is very philosophically taught to all our elders, because these days we don't play Vaikuntapali anymore, where Paramapada Sopanam, the last 100th, when somebody gets to 100th, it's called Paramapada Sopanam, meaning they are going back to their own creation, the genesis where they came from. And even if they falter in the 99th step, there's a big snake that will get you to number 2. So until the last step, they have to be very, very careful. All these games were, played, and they taught the philosophy of life. And in Kali Yuga, as we were becoming more and more influenced by other cultures that started attacking the roots of Sanatana Dharma, what happened is we started forgetting these games, and therefore the value they continue to deliver. And by making these games play, kids never understood the philosophy of these games, but as they became adults and as they were aging, then they understood and connected that these games actually reflected the philosophy of life. And that is the beauty in Sanatana Dharma, okay? Where right from the childhood, mother teaches kids these stories. And at the end of the story, mother says, in Telugu, typically they say, Kada kanchiki, manam intiki. Okay, what does it mean? Why should every story has to go to Kanchipuram? And why Kanchipuram? Why not Guwahati? Why not Bhubaneswar? Why not Madurai? Why not Rameshwaram? Why not Hyderabad? Because in Kanchipuram, Mother Goddess Kamakshi is there. If Kanchipuram Kamakshi is there, why should the story go to Kanchi? The umbilical cord, the belly button of Mother Sati Devi fell in Kanchipuram, and all of us have taken this form that exists today, which sustained through the umbilical cord that connected my mother's umbilical cord with my umbilical cord. Therefore, even before I became an independent human coming out before the umbilical cord was cut, that umbilical cord continued to feed me while I was in the Garbhalayam of my mother. So my existence, your existence, our existence to the Divine Mother is connected through the umbilical cord. Therefore, we say we all have come from the Divine Mother Kamakshi. Not our biological mother might have given birth to this body that today I call Prasanna. But if Prasanna as a body exists today, eventually, initially it got started from Kamakshi and eventually it has to go back to Kamakshi. What is it? The so called soul in me. What is soul? When I am closing my eyes and I'm thinking my mother, my father, I can see a mental image in my forehead or in my plane of projection in the mental, the so-called imagination. Who is empowering that imagination? The awareness. What is awareness? I close my eyes and I think I am now visualizing Kanchi Kamakshi in the Kanchipuram Gayatri Mandapam, where she is sitting with her legs folded, and there's a beautiful Sri Chakram in front of her in a kundam. Now, I'm sitting in Hyderabad in my room and I'm doing this Zoom live session. What is visiting that Kanchipuram? Who is visiting that? That is awareness. The awareness comes to existence when the soul starts reflecting the energy. When I'm sleeping, when you're sleeping, when all of us are sleeping, this awareness is still watching us. But there's a disconnect between the Stula Sariram, the body that you can touch and feel, and the Sukshma Sariram and the Karana Sariram. All of us have three bodies. The Karana Sariram is what entered my mother's womb, your mother's womb, when mother was pregnant with us, respectively, and the fifth month when the heartbeat started, this Karana Sariram, the so-called soul, entered the mother's womb, bringing life to the body when the heartbeat started in the fifth month. Just like when you're constructing a house, you construct the house, you get the wiring done, you get all the appliances fixed, but until that wiring is connected to the mains from the transformer, the step down transformer, the power will not flow. And if the electricity does not flow from higher potential to lower potential, no matter how many appliances you have kept at home connected, they're of no use because the electricity is not flowing. Now, similarly, all our limbs, organs, everything is developing inside the mother's womb. But if this Karana Sariram or the so called soul does not come and enter, we will not have connectivity from our soul, okay, the Atma with the Paramatma, okay, and therefore, when the fifth month, the life enters the mother's womb, that's when our heart started beating first, even before we were physically born as an independent being. Similarly, we need to understand that the Panchakritya Parayana, in this state, we are talking about the sthiti, first is srishti, which we are talking about on how it happens at our level, right? And Thirodhanam is going back. This Karana Sariram is going back. What is death? If one were to talk about death, which a lot of people think it's a taboo, they're scared. Why are they scared? Because that which we don't know often leads, uncertainty often leads to an element of fear, element of scaredness, right? Now, what is happening in the process of death? Stula Sariram, the body, and there's a Sukshma Sariram. Just like my body, there's an internal body. When I'm moving my right hand, that internally is lifting its right hand in order to move my right hand that you are able to see. Okay. Now, the Karana Sariram is essentially the one that is powering, just like the house with the wiring that is getting connected to the mains. Now, every night when we sleep, what happens is the Sukshma Sariram and the Karana Sariram are awake, but the Stula Sariram goes into sleep. Okay. Now, this Stula Sariram and Sukshma Sariram, every night when we sleep, night, morning, or afternoon, the Stula Sariram, the physical body, goes to sleep because it's exhausted. So the organs can recover, rest, and recharge. Now, then the Sukshma Sariram, connected with our umbilical cord, ascends up and starts going around. That is called the astral travel. Depending on the sadhanas we do, our Sukshma Sariram can only ascend up to our house or the surroundings, and it is connected to the umbilical cord to go around and come back. It can't really go a lot of distance. Now, yogis and devotees who are doing meditation or one form of the other, it could be bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, right? They will start developing this astral travel power where they are able to go to distance. They will be sleeping wherever they sleep, but they can go to a place. For example, they'll be living in Chennai, but they can go to Vaishno Devi, and visit and come back, because with practice, they started extending the length of their umbilical cord and therefore go to any distance and come back. It comes with practice, this astral travel. Yeah. Now, this is what happens during our sleep when you feel like you're visiting. Sometimes what happens, your urge, your desire to go to some of these places is so strong that that particular night before you slept, you assume you longed a lot to go to Shirdi. That night, you will get the power to empower your Sukshma Sarira to go to Shirdi and come back just for that one night, because you slept with a strong desire of going and visiting Shirdi and coming back. Okay. As we start practicing, this will become through dhyana, you will be able to extend the length of the umbilical cord and therefore visit every place on earth and then every plane of existence as well. That's what Jagat Guru Adi Shankaracharya and Paramacharya and others have done. That's how they become Trikala Vedis. First, they'll be able to go very far distances. Then they'll be able to go forward in time, go back in time. That's how they know, why a certain person is not able to do certain things or certain person is able to do certain things, how they need to be enabled by removing the blocker. They become the Trikala Vedis. Now, what happens during death is when the Sukshma Sariram to the Stula Sariram, the invisible umbilical cord that is there, that gets severed. When we say Yama throws his pasha and severs, what does Yama do? Yama severs that connection between the Stula Sariram and the Sukshma Sariram. Therefore, the Sukshma Sariram is confused because it is not able to come back. It is able to see the Stula Sariram, but it is not able to come back. Therefore, and it takes it 11 nights and 12 days to understand that the Sukshma Sariram can no longer enter the body. Therefore, in our rituals, they perform the 13th day, 11th day, 12th day. On 13th day, the Sukshma Sariram understands that that specific Sukshma Sariram's job is done and it needs to pack its suitcase and go back with its papas and punyas to be with the Karana Sariram, which kept it empowered until now. And that Sukshma Sariram will start its journey back, which we will discuss, as a conversation that Yama and Nachiketa have on what happens after death. That is the supreme secret that a lot of 99.99% don't understand, which is given in Garuda Purana and others. A lot of people don't attempt to read it because they get scared about it. Why is it scary? Because it talks about all the punishments that one has to go through depending on what he or she has done or not done. And knowing about these punishments, people will get scared, saying, oh my God, I'm going to go through all of this. So they think ignorance is bliss. But in our ancient times, from the 6th year of a boy and the 5th year of a girl, the Garuda Purana stories were told to kids. So they will bring in self-restraint, self-discipline to contain and conduct themselves. Okay, but with the impact of Kali Yuga, everything is being taken away from us that is of value. Yoga, in its actual form has been taken away, right? Dhyana in its actual form has taken away. Now, so-called pragmatic or practicality replaces everything. Ekadasi Vratam has been taken away from us. Who is taking them away? None other than our ignorance is taking them away, and we are submitting and surrendering to that ignorance, not knowing what is going to come our way in our own life and our future generations, and more importantly, our ancestors. Depending on how we conduct ourselves, our ancestors will be punished, saying, this is how you have raised your kid or kids, and because of this, you have to be punished. And that is very clearly demonstrated in Mahabharata as well, on why the Pitru Karikramas are so important and why we have to pray to them. Namo Devebhyo, Rishibhyo, Gurubhyo, Pitrubhyo. Every day we have to pray to our ancestors. Because of them, we are here today, right? Now, all of these actually are very well connected with the Panchakritya Parayana, the 5 acts of Mother. Srishti, Sthiti, Samharam. The 3 that we know. How does it happen every day with us? We wake up, then we are active for some time. Srishti is waking up, Sthiti is being active for some time. Then either we are exhausted, we are not feeling well, we are sleep deprived, we go back. This is Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. Sleep is nothing but temporary death. Death is nothing but permanent sleep. Shrishti Sthiti Laya. Now, what is Tirodhanam? What is Anugraham? Tirodhanam is I wake up today saying, oh my God, I woke up late, and therefore my whole day is going to get, squeezed because I only have limited time. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up early. But tomorrow again I wake up late. This Maya is called Tirodhanam. Okay? Now, I know I haven't done something today and I want to do it tomorrow. But that tomorrow does not come tomorrow. When tomorrow, comes and it becomes my today, right? November 20th, tomorrow when I get to November 20th, what is tomorrow for today will become today for, November 20th. And then I'll say I'll do it on 21st. I'll do it on 22nd. I still have time. And that is Tirodhanam, on how Maya influences us because of our prarabdha karmas. And therefore, we continue to push for a tomorrow that nobody has seen. What is the guarantee that we exist tomorrow? Who knows? Who has seen? Therefore, we continue to push towards a future that nobody has seen. That is Tirodhanam. Now, Maya, Divine Mother's form, Maya does this Tirodhanam because of her prarabdhas. Now, who will do Anugraham? Who will help us from Tirodhanam? She herself. We have to reach out and say, oh, Mother, I'm not able to come out of the clutches of your Maya. Every day I make Sankalpam, but when the time comes, my Sankalpam gets diluted. I become weak. I become a victim of circumstances. I become a victim of my addiction. I become a victim of my tongue. I become a victim of my emotions. And therefore, I become weak. Okay. In Bhavani Astakam that we discussed briefly, it says, it goes in the last, it says, I am the most weakest person, Mother, and only by chanting your name, Bhavani, right, I will be able to become strong. Mahakshinaha, it says, right? And in that Bhavani Astakam, Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya gives a very, very easy route to become strong from the weakest of the weak that we all become with our addictions or with our habits that are eating away. He says, keep chanting Bhavani Namam and she will start reinforcing you and I. Now, when we reach out and do Sharanagati to whichever God we are praying to, Rama, Krishna, Lalita, then the Anugraham happens. And then our life starts turning differently. And then we'll be able to control the bad habits that are eating away our time and not and preventing us from doing good and encouraging us to do bad. When that U-turn happens, that is called Anugraham. And the person looks the same, but her habits or his habits will be very different. People who have seen them before and after will be surprised saying, what has changed in this person? That is a true representation of Anugraham. These are the 5 karmas which we say Mother Goddess performs, Panchakritya Parayana. But she's Raja Rajeshwari. For her to perform, she has appointed each of the Brahmas with different names. Srishti is done by Chaturmukha Brahma. Okay, why do we qualify Chaturmukha Brahma? The one who creates the universes, cosmos, had 5 heads before. Then he became egoistic and said, even Shiva, Sadashiva has 5 heads, I have 5 heads. So both of us are the same. What is the difference? And then Shiva just took away one of the heads by pinching it with his nails, not really plucking it, just pinched with his nails. And therefore, Chaturmukha Brahma, even if you are a Brahma, if you have ego, then you will be punished. You will be penalized. Nobody is above the code of conduct that has been given by Vedas. The same Chaturmukha Brahma who contains the Vedas also says, I am also, the Vedas are also applicable to me. And therefore we say Chaturmukha Brahma. To say Panchamukha Brahma became Chaturmukha Brahma. he creates. Then Lord Vishnu, the Sthitikara, he sustains. Then Rudra, he does the layam. Then once Srishti, Sthiti, Laya are done, think at a universe level, not just at an individual level. Isha, we keep calling Jagat Isha, Jagat plus Isha, the one who is ruling the Jagat, okay, the universes. He takes these three people, Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, into him. And this Isha does Tirodhanam. And that's when Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra end their lives and become one with Isha. And this Isha goes back and becomes one with the one who is sleeping on that, the background picture on whose left lap Mother Goddess Lalita is sitting. When she is sitting in this form, she is called Mahakameshwari and he is called Mahakameshwara. And then only the two of them exist, nobody else exists. And she, Mother Goddess Lalita, goes into him as his Shakti. And that is where the first slokam, Shiva Shaktya Yukto, starts. Even that Sadashiva is not able to move his little finger without the movement of his Shakti, who is the Karana Sarira. She is making the cause come to effect in Shiva. Then Shiva, who is all alone in the form of Dakshinamurti, and nobody around him as well, moves with a desire because Mother Goddess or his Karana Sariram started causing ripples of a desire. What is this desire? I am all alone, but let me now become multiple beings. And then from him comes out the Shakti, the Ardhanarishwara, and from them is created Hiranyagarbha, the first seed, and then the creation starts happening again. All right. Now, this is the cycle. Now, the same thing happens in us, in every being's life as well. This is captured in the 24th shloka that we wanted to discuss today, which goes as Jagat Sute Data Hariravati Rudrak Shapayate Tiraskarva Netat Swaparisha Stirati Sada Purvam Sarvam Taditamanugrahnati Shivaha Tavagna Alambya Shanjarateo Brulatigayaha. Jagat Sute Data. The whole Jagat is create. Jagat is Jayate Gachate iti Jagat. Jayate, the one which is constantly Jayate, one comes. The whatever comes has to go. Gachate. Right? And that is done by Brahma, date of birth, date of manufacturing. Jagat Sute Data. Data is Brahma. Hari Ravati. Vishnu. Hari means the one who is consuming. What is being consumed? Time is consuming us. Right? Kalo Jagat Bhakshakaha. All of us are being eaten away by time in the form of sunrise and sunset, which says one more day in our life has gone. Hari Ravati. Rudrak Shapayate. Once the time comes, okay, all the things in the home, all the food that we cook, everything, as it becomes stale, we want to throw it away. As things break, we want to throw it away. As things age, we want to give it away to somebody or throw it away. But the one thing that nobody wants to throw away is this Stula Sariram. As it ages, we try to keep it young. We try to do exercises, we try to do Botox treatments, we try to do cosmetic treatments, and try to fight the aging senescence. There are so many people who are wanting to stop aging, right? You do intermittent fasting, you will age slowly. People are trying to come up with a lot of treatments to slow down aging, but what they don't understand is they can never win that battle. Time is unidimensional, and that time has to consume everybody. That is the representation of Sadashiva's form, Mahakala in Ujjain, saying, I am eating away every one of you, every second of existence, is what Mahakala says. impartially eating away whether you're good, great, bad, or evil. No bias, no difference. You were born at a time, you have to be consumed at a time, and you are being consumed every second. That's what Ujjain Mahakala says. Now, Hari Ravati, that's the reason Vishnu has so many names, but Hari has been taken because Hari means the one that is being consumed. Okay. Hariravat Rudrak Shapayate. Why Rudra? Even Shiva has so many names. Rudra means being impartial, punishing for the bad we have done, praising us for the good we have done, like a very impartial father. Therefore, he becomes Rudra. Did you do dharmic things? Yes, you have done. Take away all the punyam. Did you do adharmic things? Yes, you have done. Take away all the papam. Nothing will be discounted from your papam. Nothing will be added to your punyam, whatever you have done. Those are the two banks that everyone goes with as they go away from their stula sariram. That is the only property that we walk away with. Whatever we accumulate in banks, whatever we accumulate on this planet just stays back in this planet. But whatever punyas and papas we have done, that will be taken to the next planes of existence as our soul starts walking after this life. Now, that's the first line's importance. Okay. Then the next line, the first line said, Jagat Sute Data Hariravati Rudrakshapete Tiraskurva Neta Swaparisha Stireti Sada Purvam Sarvam Tadita Mama Gruhnadita Shivaha Tavagna Alambe Shanchaldev Prudatiga. Now these three are done. Sriti, Sthiti, Laya are done. Thirodhanam needs to be done. The Thirodhanam is Isha taking Brahma. First, Brahma goes and becomes one with Vishnu. Vishnu goes back and becomes half of Shiva. There is an avataram called Harihara avataram. Hari, who is consuming everything, is being consumed and is going into Hara. Okay, that Harihara avataram essentially is a representation of the Sthiti going and merging with Laya. And then that Harihara avataram goes and gets consumed or becomes one with Isha. Okay, that Harihara avataram is what we typically say Isha. And that Isha goes and becomes one with Sada Shiva. There is no Sada Brahma, there's no Sada Vishnu in Veda, but there's only Sada Shiva. Why Sada Shiva? The one who performs auspicious things and auspicious things alone is called Shiva. Shivam Shankaram. Shivam Shankaram Sundaram. The one who does auspicious things for us, for the world, for the cosmos, is naturally very beautiful. If you look at Kanchi Paramacharya, who lived for 100 years, if you look at many yogis, they are not physically beautiful. In fact, many of them physically look ugly, but their physical beauty is not what defines them. They are beautiful because they have sacrificed their life for the Loka Kalyana. So when we say, how is Shiva beautiful? With ashes smeared on his body, okay, with snakes all around, with the hair matted, how can Shiva look beautiful? But he is the most beautiful because Shiva has not done a single thing, not a single thing for himself. Every time he has done things only for others. Okay, when Bhasmasura asked him a boon that wherever whomever or whatever I keep my hand on, it should burn. Shiva, without thinking for a moment, becoming Bola that he is, gave the boon. Bhasmasura wanted to test that by keeping his hand on Shiva. Then that Hari, which is already there in Shiva, emerged out because Hari is the Shakti, Narayani of Shiva, and it is the Shakti's job to protect Shiva. So Vishnu came to the forefront because he is the Sthitikara, and it is his job to sustain Shiva as well, to protect Shiva. right? That's what Sthitikara Tattva means, and therefore took the Mohini avataram again from Mother Goddess Lalita and got Bhasmasura infatuated with the physical beauty. And that led to Bhasmasura falling under lust and infatuation. And Vishnu, in the form of Mohini, did the dance and asked Bhasmasura to imitate Mohini. And he did all the dances, revealing the physical beauty of the organs of a woman, which led Bhasmasura to be lustful. And when a person is blinded by lust, her awareness is at a minimalistic functioning. It cannot function with proper rationality. And therefore, you see people who are addicts, whether to alcohol, drugs, or even to food, they'll make a strong will not to take those drugs, alcohol. But the moment they see those or somebody else consuming, what happens? They become driven by karma, lust to consume that substance that they are, addicted to. And therefore, their rational power comes to a minimum and they consume the alcohol, the drugs, or whatever habit that is consuming them. And therefore, later they feel regretful when the awareness comes back to full boom. And that's the same thing that happens with all of us with whatever weaknesses we are struggling with and trying to get rid of. Okay. Now, Bhasmasura also the same thing, and then Mohini kept her hand on her head, and Bhasmasura did the same thing, and the boon that was given to him by Shiva became a curse consuming him. Okay. Now, that's how all of them go back to Sadashiva, who is lying, as the plank of mother. Sada purvam sarvam tadita mama manu gruhnadi cha shivaha Shiva. This part talks about the anugraham. Now, Tirodhanam happened. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, or Rudra went back into Isha. And Isha, who does the Tirodhanam, where the world is, Mahapralayam has happened, and the world is taking some rest before it can recover, right? Even the world needs rest, recover, and recharge. See what we are doing to the planet by abusing plastic. We ourselves are causing the end, which that's the reason the Sanat Dharma says Kali Yuga is the end yugam, with which again everything will be a cycle. Now, with Sadashiva taking control over, where Isha goes and merges with Sadashiva, Sadashiva on whose left lap his Shakti, Raja Rajeshwari Lalita Paravatarika. Why she's called Raja Rajeshwari? She is the empress. She is ruling everything, every being, every universe, every cosmos. Even when there is no cosmos, she is ruling it. Just like when you are sleeping, you're not dead. Your awareness is ensuring you wake back up when the sun rises the next morning or just before the sunrise, right? Who is keeping you alive? The awareness. Okay, that awareness is what is the Chaitanya Rupa in you and me that is keeping us alive. Now, Shiva is also kept alive by the Chaitanya Rupam. And when everything in the cosmos is sleeping in Mahapralayam, Mother Goddess as the Shakti is the one that rules and says you had enough rest, you had enough recovery, you had enough recharge, now time to create again. And she ensures Sadashiva starts creating Brahma with the Hiranyagarbha, that I said, the first golden seed. And it will be put in a pot, and that pot will be floating on the Pralaya Jalas. It will come to a place where there is in a betel leaf the Vishnu's baby Krishna avataram is sleeping and sucking the big toe of the right foot. This is called Vatapatra Sai avataram of Shiva or of Vishnu. And this Vatapatra Sai avataram when all the pralayam happens, the jalas actually flood everything. Only Chiranjeevi, Markandeya, goes and he sees everything is dark, there's nobody. And then he sees a dot of light that is spreading, that is the Hiranyagarbha. Wherever that light is spreading, he'll go there, and there he has the first darshanam of this Vatapatra Sai, the Mahavishnu who is sleeping in a baby form, acting as if he does not know anything. But since the first creation already happened, Hiranyagarbham, the golden seed, since generation happened, God of sustenance has to come to protect that. And that darshanam first is given to Markandeya, who became a Chiranjeevi by the blessings of Lord Sadashiva. And then Vishnu, in the form of Vatapatrasai, explains to Markandeya that wherever the spot is going to stop, that becomes the Kumbhakonam of that yugam or generation. And that's where the Kumbhakonam temple comes. Okay, the Kumbhakonam temple that we have today in Tamil Nadu that we go and visit was the place where that Hiranyagarbha pot stopped and the first creation came into existence. That is the story. And all of this happens because the Sadashiva is lying on the bed, and on his left lap, Raja Rajeshwari, who is ruling all the worlds, even when they don't exist, just like our awareness is very much awake when we are sleeping. She, when Shiva looks at her, right, because Shiva is constantly looking at her while he is meditating. He is, remember, Shiva is the biggest upasaka of the Shakteyam or the Sri Vidya. And therefore, we say in Sri Vidya Guru Sampradayam, the first Guru is none other than Dakshinamurti. From that Dakshinamurti, Vishnu Avataram, from the Harihara Avataram, when Hari again comes out to create sustenance, he sat before Sadashiva in the form of Hayagriva and learned this Sri Vidya, because every one of us, whether you're a male, female, or a transgender, representing the Ardhanarishvara Rupam, you are moving with your own Shakti. And that Shakti, if you know how to work with that Shakti, you will be able to ascend your Kundalini, the representation of that Parashakti in you as Shakti. So Sadashiva, who is constantly meditating on Rajarajeshwari Parabhattarika, focuses, looks at her. The moment she gives, that's the fourth line, that's what it says. Tavagna alambayo, tava agya, your permission. When it comes, how does your permission come? Kshana charitayo bru latikaya, bru, eyebrows, right? The bruise. Latikaya means it is there as if it is a creeper, plant creeper, right? And the moment you raise your eyebrows, giving approval, that's when Sadashiva again gets Isha out. And from Isha, Brahma, Vishnu, and Rudra come out in order to do the generate, operate, and destruct that we call as God, which is an acronym. This is the meaning of the 24th Slokam, a very brief attempt at trying to capture that Mahasamudram, the ocean, in a brief droplet, right? This is an attempt to understand the 24th Slokam of Soundarya Lahari that talks about the Panchakritya Parayana that is happening in each of us every day, and it is happening in the macro cosmos also. Right now, let's actually do Mangalam Guru Shri and conclude today's class. Manasvi, can you do Mangalam Guru Shri Ma?
Mangalam Guru Shri Chandramalishwarage ಶಕ್ತಿ ಗಣಪತಿ ಶಾರದಾಂಬಿಕೆ ಶಂಕರಾಚಾರ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಕಾಲ ಭೈರವಗೆ ಕಾಳಿ ದುರ್ಗಗೆ ವೀರ ಧೀರ ಸೂರ ಹನುಮ ಮಾರುತಿ ಚರಣಗೆ ಮಂಗಲಂ ಗುರುಶ್ರೀ.
Stay blessed, and we will meet in the next class. Shri Maathrey Namaha.
Thank you. Shree Maathrey Namaha.